Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the July edition of the AFRAA Skyconnect show, the only thought leadership show in Africa where AFRAA brings together key stakeholders as thought leaders in the industry. We discuss issues pertinent to the air transport industry in Africa and how we can derive Africa-specific solutions to drive the industry to be bigger, better, and more sustainable. For today's show, we shall be focusing on the subject of airline distribution in Africa. So we'll be looking at the landscape of air transport and how airlines are distributing, what are the challenges, what are the pain points, also the aspect to do with the payments. And we have two guests who will be helping me unbox and unpack this subject. The first guest is Hassan Aurag, who is from Hitit. He'll tell us a bit more about his role and what Hitit does. And our second guest, Francois from DataWings. And just before we start, a few key announcements of how we shall run the show. We have this show live. We shall also be taking questions and comments. And to ensure that we don't miss out on any of your questions, please use the Q&A tab to post your question. And as the show continues, I will take that question to address it to our guests. And if you want to make a comment, you can use the comment box. And then we shall also take that into consideration. The show is scheduled to take place for 1 hour. So for the next 1 hour, we shall be listening to our guests, discussing in a very interactive format, and also to engage the audience. And we really want to focus and ensure that we don't leave any point unaddressed on how we do airline retailing in Africa, distribution, and payments. Without further ado, let's start the discussion just to get to know our guests before we unbank onto the discussions. Hassan Aurag, I'll start with you. Tell us a bit more about yourself, your role, and what does Hitit do for Africa?
Thank you, Maureen, very much. So in Hitit, I basically represent the company on the commercial side within Africa and the Middle East region. What Hitit does, Hitit is a major IT provider for airlines and actually the whole travel industry. We do the obvious PSS that people use, DCS, cargo solutions, operation solutions, but we're also heavily involved with IATA and with other partners in the future, which is NDC, offer and order management, and things like that. And really recently, we just launched what we call Hitit Oxygen, which is the first solution we have that is ready and that is full offer and order management compliant. Pegasus is the launch customer on this one. And yeah, this is a bit what Hitit does. So we can provide everything that an airline needs to operate successfully and grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. And also at the same time, you are the ambassador for Hitit for Africa. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. So Africa and Middle East, the whole Africa and Middle East region. Yes. Thank you.
Sure. And over to you, Francois, a bit about yourself and what DataWings does.
So, hello, I'm Michael. So I'm the sales director of DataWings. So we have been involved in Africa since, I would say, the last 15 years. We are an IT provider, and we were originally focused on, I would say, all financial services, such as revenue accounting with Clara Passenger Platform, sales audit with our platform Audit View, and also all services related to financial reconciliations. So we have started to work on the booking engine area, so distribution, some years ago, since the NDC started to be a mature technology. And now what we aim to do is to, I would say, integrate the distribution part with our financial service to make a complete and, I would say, full-in-one services that will provide a lot of automation for our customers. We have one main motto, which is to turn the data into profit, efficiency, and growth on behalf of airlines. And this is what we are trying to do.
Thank you a bit about yourself. And now we will be focusing on a bit of understanding of the distribution landscape in Africa. But before we go to understand on the distribution landscape, we did a survey as AFRAA in collaboration with one of our partners, TP Connects, to get an understanding. And looking at the African airlines kind of characteristics, in terms of passenger volumes, 44% of African airlines carry fewer than 500,000 passengers annually. And also they carry 37% of African airlines carry between 500,000 and 2 million passengers. So this is in terms of their passenger numbers. And in terms of the fleet size, 40% of African airlines operate between 6 and 15 aircraft. So that gives you an idea of the size. Of course, we do have outliers, African airlines that are having bigger fleets, and that is just on the average based on the kind of survey responses we received. And in terms of IT infrastructure, 60% of African airlines still rely on on-premise systems. 23% of African airlines still use Google Cloud, with others on AWS and on Oracle Cloud. We still see from the outcome of the survey that there's still an appetite for airlines to embrace modern retailing, with a big number of them, about 40%, that expressed interest to have plans ahead to implement NDC. So that's on the African airline side, just to understand their kind of position. So we want to unpack the landscape. I'll start with you, Hassan. What are the current distribution challenges and the current distribution channels that exist in Africa?
So thank you, Maureen, for the question, and thank you for the overview of the current landscape. You hit it right at the right place. The huge fragmentation means of the airline industry, a lot of airlines with less than 15 planes, etc. That huge fragmentation, the result of it is that compared to the global, let's say, distribution landscape, airlines in Africa tend to have at least double the amount or the percentage of tickets sold through human agents. Yes, so that means there is a heavy reliance on travel agents in your home markets in certain way. Yeah, that also means that you are stuck with whatever models they have selling your tickets. So even if you are a small startup and you want to sell directly and you want to cut cost, well, you still have to go through those travel agents and you still have to pay those charges that you have to pay, right? This fragmentation, I believe, is a hindrance to the aviation market in Africa, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm not a global aviation guy, but I think it would help if people started, I don't know, consolidating more. I think that's if you look at Europe. By the way, we don't have to be like Europe or Asia or America, but what is true elsewhere is that consolidation made for a better market and better competitiveness and more sustainability in terms of aviation and growth and real growth.
You're very right on the aspect of a lot of dependence on travel agents. Last week, we had the Kenya Association of Travel Agents, AGM, where AFRAA was represented. And from the discussions, some of the airlines are using about between 12 and 50% of their bookings are through the travel agents, and a few even going up to 70%. So you see the picture is really clear on the extent to which airlines are really relying on travel agents. And your recommendation on we need to consider consolidation so that it can be better aligned and it can be more efficient, so to say. And then now we'll want to get the views of Francois. What are your views on the airline distribution landscape in Africa?
So yes, I would feel the same as Hassan. I will add one more figures, which is that the top 5 airlines in Africa represent more than 70% of the packs flown. So it's really crazy, and it shows how much it is fragmented. And this fragmentation is something I would say really bad for the markets, because at the end, what is the idea? The idea is to make economies of scale for the airlines, because the more volume they will have, the more you can control costs. You can also reduce commission at the travel agent side, because of course now they are more or less at 5 or more percent, more than 5%, because the volume is not here. So at the end, it is entailing a very bad effect to the, I would say, to the pricing, and in a way it is locking the markets. Same, this fragmentation prevent people from prevent airlines from doing interlines and things. Compared to Europe or America, you can go to a booking engine, and in a few clicks you can book different flights involving 4 or 5 airlines very easily. This cannot be possible in Africa, and this is limiting the people and the market to grow up. So it is things we need to work out, and it's true. I don't see much hopes on the GDS side to cope with these problems, but I'm very hopeful that the NDC can open a lot of the, I would say, today issues on the African markets.
And is this trend, Michael, expected to change, or is it already changing from your perspective?
It's already changing. If you look at the direct distribution, it used to be pretty well balanced in the past, between, let's say, traditional travel agent and airline direct distribution, such as the call center, on sales office, or booking engine. And now what we can see is that there is, I would say, an increasing part in an acceleration of the direct sales. And yes, the idea is to take back the control over the market from the airline. The idea is to lower costs. The idea is to be more autonomous and be able to provide more services to the passengers. So yes, there is a solid trend towards this, actually.
So the trend is there, but it's not moving fast enough. Indeed, we can see the impact on the airline's performance bottom line. From the year 2010 up to the year 2023, on average, African airlines have not realized a profit. It's only in 2024 that we saw there was a net profit on average for African airlines, but it was really very minimal, 90 cents US cents per passenger. And the forecast for this year is that this shall increase slightly to $1 per passenger. So we see it's still performance-wise, we need to ensure that any actions that can be taken from the airline side, as so you rightly put it, Michael, on aspects to do with cost reduction, need to be really focused on by airlines and also the various organizations and stakeholders at large. And speaking about costs, Hassan, we see distribution costs being very high for African airlines, but just to give us a feel of it, percentage-wise, where does this range in terms of the total costs for airlines' expenditure on distribution only?
So I earlier talked about the fragmentation and challenges. The good news, as Michael was mentioning, and I'll take it from there to answer that question. We see from our own members in Africa, we are the second provider actually right now in Africa. We see a huge movement trend to go through direct sales and NDC type sales to reduce that cost. Now, let me be frank. The 7 to 10 euros per segment is still there for people that go through traditional channels, let's call it. Yes. So you just can imagine if you go through a traditional channel, you are basically adding maybe 10 euros to your ticket or $10, right? when you are competing on price and you already have big charges, other charges that are not related to distribution, right? The margin for competition is really small. So we see the good news here is that we see a lot of actually all of our members pushing to go through direct sales or NDC sales, and even talking to travel agencies to basically use the airline's own B2B capabilities, right? To bypass those other channels. Now, there's still a challenge there, right? And to answer your question, look, a fairly big airline that I cannot mention, right? A couple of years ago, realized that they could save about just by avoiding traditional channels, $5 million a year of distribution costs, right? Just by pushing for more direct sales. It's big, it's a big number. So when you were mentioning low profit margins, you can imagine what just $1 million or $500,000 can be. So the advice that I have personally for airlines, whether they're using our system or using other systems, change them if you need to, but push to have more control, like Michael was saying, on your sales channels, and push for direct sales. There is no reason for you to pay large amounts of money just to sell your ticket.
So more direct sales,
Yes,
also
more
to
NDC sales. Yes.
NDC
yes,
sales.
Yes.
What about you, Michael? What are some of the strategies that airlines can put in place to reduce that component of distribution costs?
So I fully agree with Hassan. More direct sales, because if we look at the GDS cost, it's true, $6, $7, $8, but you have to compare this with I would say an average flight cost. Let's say a domestic one, it's something around $150 and $200, and for a regional one, it can be up to $300. So you can imagine that at the end, the GDS cost is more or less 5 to 10% of the ticket cost, which is huge. Sometimes, and many times, I would say, it's even higher than the margin of the airline. So it cannot continue like this. Okay, so direct sales, yes, and I would add something else, which is direct and digital. This is very important. So now we saw that many airlines started to invest on it, such as Ethiopian or Kenya Airways. Let's say they invested, on their applications, smartphone applications. They also invested on AI chatbot, and I think it's a good way, I think, to cope with the cost, and at the same time to provide a higher quality service to people, because it's immediate. Because when the AI is well trained, so the answers are very smart, and we are not losing time on the exchange, things like that. So we have to invest. We have to invest also on, let's say, travel agency portal, that will put in direct airlines with the traditional travel agents. So yes, direct sales, most of all digital.
And are there win-win possibilities to ensure that we reduce those distribution costs while also selling directly between airlines and travel agents? Michael.
Yes, so if you look at the I would say GDS business model and the way they interact with travel agents, you know that a part of their revenue is coming back to the travel agent. So at the end, who has the leadership, the relationship with the travel agent? It's not airlines, it's travel agent. So the idea is to, I would say, to be more straightforward with the travel agent, be able to provide them tools to book tickets in direct with the airlines. And it's true, there will be a lot of money saved, and this money can be invested in passenger service, in, I would say, also developing ancillaries. So it's good because it will develop the business for the airline as well as for the travel agent. And maybe also, why not, a part of the, I would say, saved distribution cost can be also sent back to the travel agent. Then at the end, the airline will take back the control over the commercial relationship with the travel agents. and that will be a lot saner and more transparent than it is today.
Well said. And now, after the aspects of selling have been addressed, one other key uniqueness of the African market is payments. So we see various payment options, whereas we have the credit card payment option not being widely used as it is being used in other regions. So with an array of various payment options, we have mobile money, bank transfer, cash, times credit card. So how do airlines navigate the hurdles of the diverse payment options available in the market? I'll start with you, Hassan.
Yes, thank you, Maureen. This is a very big issue, by the way, and it's not just Africa. We can see it elsewhere in South America, for example. Not everybody has a bank account, not everybody has a credit card, right? So at Hitit, for example, we support about 60, I think we have about 67 alternative payment forms worldwide, with a lot of payment forms in Africa. And a lot of our member airlines that choose us, actually, I think every single one of them have at least one alternative payment form integrated with their system to be able to directly accept payment in that system. So each country in Africa has today at least one payment form. The complication here is that you sadly have to do a lot of them, right? Because, I mean, while there are a few that are Pan-African to a certain degree, there are many that are just one or two countries, yeah? And so you have to do a lot of those. So what we did at Hitit is come up with something we call payment orchestration that should be available sometimes at the end of this year. And that will allow airlines to basically be able to better manage all that payment landscape without having to go insane, you know, in each country checking which payment is needed, which one do I have to deal with, etc., etc. But this is a big deal, Maureen. Not being able to allow your customer to buy your ticket is a big issue, yeah? And if you can reach all your customers, even with mobile money, whatever, then absolutely. Plus, it helps that person go directly, like Michael was mentioning earlier, on your website. You know, we were talking about direct sales and digital direct sales, and just buy a ticket, right? They can do it with their payment form, whatever. It makes it much easier and much faster. So yes, that is the future. You have not only to make your inventory and your packages available to your customer, you have to make it super easy for them to just pay for it.
And what about your thoughts, Michael, on the navigation of the various payment options that airlines can use?
Yes, so to complete what Hassan said, it's true, but it's a big issue. If you look at the African countries, there is 30, more or less 30 unique currencies. So airlines have to manage all of them, which is not an easy way. And in each country, I would say the practice of form of payments are different. In Nigeria, as an example, only 5% of people have credit card, whereas more than 70% in South Africa have. So we have to manage all of this. I understand the vision of Hassan doing, I would say, an orchestration platform to kind of collect the form of payments and be able to provide a large range of form of payments. On our side, we have a different vision that can be better or less good depending on configuration, which is to, I would say, integrate local providers, not one by one, but I would say now today it starts to be, I would say, major aggregators of payment gateways, local players, and this is what we are trying now to do in order to be able to, I would say, to cope and cover all the form of payments required to cover the African markets. So it's two different visions, and I think both visions are good. And yes, and I think yes, we on our side we would like to focus more on the bookings, and it's true it's not easy. And what we forget also, is all the aspect related to cross-border payments, because when you have a lot of different currencies, that means you also have a lot of conversion fees, because of course the airlines, when they need to repatriate funds, they need to get the money in their local currency, the place where they are located, and it represents a huge amount of money, very huge amount of money, and sometimes it's even not possible because of the local regulations to repatriate, I would say, huge amount of funds. So there are big issues related to this, and it's a bit early on our side, but we are thinking that maybe crypto, not now, it's not ready at all for sure, but we are making some inquiries, and maybe cryptos can be one of the solutions to solve the cross-border payment cost, and also, I would say, capability limitations.
You brought out a very important point there, Michael, on cross-border payments. And one of the challenges we are seeing in the industry, not only affecting Africa, is the issue of blocked funds where airlines are unable to repatriate their sales revenues from different countries. Is there a way, or is there some potential solutions? You talked about the cryptocurrency, which is quite a long way from now, but are there any ways that can be put in place to address this big challenge of airline blocked funds?
Hassan, or
yourself, Michael? And then Hassan, if you have something to add, of course, we would be happy to hear that.
What I think is that there is nothing magical, waiting for better ways and I guess technological ways to be able to cope with the cross-border payment limitations. I think that associations such as AFRAA needs to work closely with, I would say, the local authorities to open the frontiers, which is what I would say. I don't see much ways, more efficient ways to do, at least.
Okay, so more advocacy on the part of industry stakeholders. And anything else to add, Hassan?
But not really. It's really I mean, I know you know this, Maureen, and Michael, Ayata, etc., and all these other guys know it. The blocked fund issue is not a technological issue. It's literally the country saying, I don't have enough money, in most cases, or hard currencies or whatever, to let you be able to repatriate your funds, right? It's literally, it's a state issue, it's a government issue, right? So yes, advocacy, but there is no technological solution to that. I want to go back just quickly, Maureen, to complement the last point. So for us to understand about the payment and even the cross-border thing. Globally, there's about 600 million mobile money users. Half of them are in Africa. Think about that. Half of all the mobile money users in the world are in Africa. There is a reason behind that, obviously, right? For regulations, etc., etc. Now, I'm not sure if the mobile money people can have accounts outside of countries with issues, right? But that's the only other solution. You can't bypass these blocked funds unless you have those funds elsewhere. That's as simple as that. Sorry.
Some important stats there. Half of the world's mobile money users are in Africa. And indeed, some of the countries like Kenya are the leading ones to really invent that. The reason being is mostly the bankable population is not the same level as the other continents, and they find it quite easier to use for the mobile money. And there's also very less percentage-wise on the use of credit cards, and also on the aspect of bank accounts. How many people, percentage-wise of the population, have bank accounts? And then just before we move on to our next focus area, which is on NDC, I see on the Q&A, Eman Mohammed asks, I think this one is to you, Michael, what did you exactly mean by payment orchestration?
payment orchestration means that you create an orchestration platform that will be integrated in direct with, I would say, payment gateways such as M-Pesa, Orange Money, things like that, you know. So, and at the end, this platform, you know, depending on where your point of sale, your customer are based, will I would say show up the relevant payment gateways, that are widely used in the market, in the given market.
Yeah, thank you. And still back to our previous focus area where we were looking at how can airlines reduce their distribution cost. Hassan, you mentioned they need to do more B2B, more direct sales, and more NDC sales. We have a question from the floor. An anonymous attendee asks, or she asks, how do you see the role of travel agents evolving as more airlines push for direct bookings through their own platforms and applications? I can ask that to you, Hassan.
Yes. So I believe travel agents will still be needed always, right? We've seen that around the world, by the way. They haven't disappeared, and they shouldn't. But now we're not selling any more tickets. We're selling solutions, packages, experiences to your travelers, right? Beyond basically, your customer comes to you because he has a more personable experience as opposed to being on a website, right? I think the money will be a service fee. Most travel agents today have a service fee that is added to the sale of a ticket that has nothing to do with GDS cost or sales cost or whatever, right? So you still make money. Now, with rich content being offered more and more through NDC and offer and order management, right? You now are able to sell, let's say, more exciting packages to your customers as opposed to just, I want one seat from here to there, right? So I think the evolution is going to come more from the experience side and the service side, as opposed to just a fixed commission on how many legs you've sold today or whatever, yeah? This, by the way, happens in a lot of other industries that are service-oriented, right? Where people go to have that human interaction to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. In this case, it's traveling, right? So I believe that's the future of travel agents.
So the relationship will continue to still be symbiotic, and airlines will continue to reduce their distribution costs.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Still on the aspect of cross-border payments, we have a question from Chinelo Obogo, who asks, how can travel agents address the cross-border trading? Maybe you want to take that, Mikhail or Hassan? Maybe Mikhail?
I think it's not easy to answer. I guess everything is related to the local regulations. And I would add something to what I said before. It is that, again, we are always coming back to the same point, the lack of economies of scale, you know, on the airline side and on the travel agent side too. Because to the extent, till we won't have, I would say, substantial volumes of ticket sales, we will not be able to, I would say, reduce the cost related to the cross-border payments. And this is what we need to achieve. We need to consolidate, and we need players to be bigger, and then it will reduce all the, I would say, the operating cost, and turn the industry as something a lot more saner for everyone.
Well said. So we still go back to the important key action. Airlines need to collaborate and consolidate because the African market is very fragmented. And speaking about the new distribution capability, modern retailing, Hassan, if you can take us through what does NDC imply and why do we see very low penetration of NDC in Africa, whereas there are benefits that airlines and travel agents stand to gain from implementation of NDC?
Thank you, Maureen. So it's not all bad news. A lot of the big airlines have embarked on NDC. Even some smaller airlines, some of our partners have embarked on NDC. But you are correct that not all, and it's still a small percentage. Now, what is NDC? Think of it this way. Instead of NDC itself is just a technology. It's just a way of talking to each other between systems, right? And offer and order management is also, it's the next step, which takes you from your old PNR, seed selection, etc., to actually, what am I selling? Okay, let me give you a small example that has existed forever. Okay, on Expedia, if you know Expedia or Booking.com or whatever, you can go book a flight. You can actually say, I want the package, and the package will be my flight, my hotel. Then, as you go through that, you'll take your ticket, you'll have your hotel booking, and then you can say, I want to add airport transfer. Oh, and what do I do? I'm going to Zanzibar. What is there to do in Zanzibar on that date that I'm in? Oh, there is this excursion somewhere for $90. I can take those tickets. I can do all that today on Expedia. And it was done years ago through a lot of really complicated technology. Now, imagine if you as an airline can offer that. So instead of Expedia building it itself, you offer that not only to your customers, but also through all your sales channels, through your travel agents, even to Expedia. So instead of Expedia building from scratch that package, they already have your packages. Oh, this guy wants to go to Zanzibar and he wants to do these things. Okay, it's there. The outcome of that, because at the end of the day, you have to think of something. The outcome of that, when it was done properly elsewhere, is, think of this way, almost $6 bottom line per passenger. Bottom line. I'm not talking revenue. I'm talking profit, pure profit. Why? Because you're only just bundling stuff, right? You're not doing the cruise yourself. You are contracting a cruise company or a hotel or whatever. You have a commission agreement between you and them, right? So you're not really doing anything extra, but you make $6 profit. So think of it. Any airline here listening, calculate, you were saying 500,000 passengers, Maureen, multiplies that by 6. That's $3 million more profit, not revenue, profit. That's why you do that. And why you also do it? Well, because it's already being done and it's already being, profited by other, like I just gave the example of Expedia. And why not? They should do it. So it's already been done. If you're not doing it, someone else will do it and is already doing it. But you can do it and you can also profit from it. That's basically what NDC and retailing and all that means. Take charge of what is already being provided today and get a piece of it.
Wow. So
Make sense?
$6,
Yeah.
yes, makes $6 profit, not revenue per passenger. So if African Airlines, let's just take a typical case. If we had that implemented across the board as at 2024, the profit will be $6.9 per passenger, and this year it will be $7. That's precisely what you want to
Yes.
give us as a
Yes.
wow. So it's not a nice to have, it's an important strategic positioning.
Just to add to, because there was 2 parts of your question, why it's not there yet. It's not a sprint. Airlines need to understand this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you need to have a strategy. And you need to basically transform your organization to start thinking this way. Instead of just, I'm selling seats and I'm managing seats and whatever, luggage, right? So you have to have that strategic decision at the beginning, and you have to say, this is what I will do. And you have to have your systems in place, but also your people. You need to have people for that, right? The right people and the right organization, etc., to be able to leverage all that and become a proper retailer, become an Amazon, right? Yourself as an airline, you become an Amazon of travel and leisure and business and whatever, right? So it's a step forward, but please remember, it's a marathon. If you expect it to give you $6 in 6 months, no, it will be in 5 years, right?
Yep.
If you do it right and if you take all the steps.
Okay, that's important to highlight. After about 5 years, then you can get to see the real benefit on the bottom line. So if we have that very clear picture on the bottom line. The benefit is an increment in the profit per passenger. Why is NDC implementation very low in Africa, Michael?
So I think there are various factors. I guess one of the first one is, I would say, the cost related to the switch from, I would say, the standard legacy systems to brand new NDC platforms. So I don't know, but for the few customers we discussed some days ago, it can vary. You know, the one-shot fee can vary from 300,000 to $500,000 or more dollars, plus lots of I would say integrations to be done on top of it. So it may represent for some airlines in Africa, especially the small and middle-sized airlines, I would say big amounts. So clearly, and I think it's not cost is not the only point. The other point is related to knowledge and training, because NDC is a new word. You know, you have to understand the concept. It works differently, and my feeling is that not much people are aware about the different change. You know, and what we can see is that when airlines, let's say in Africa for Kenya Airways, when they launch their NDC platform, so they have made huge training session with hundreds of people from travel agent to make them understand how it was working and things. And I guess knowledge is also a limiting factor.
So the switching cost, integration costs, training, as well as the aspect of knowledge transfer.
Yes, exactly.
Those are the key impediments. We have from the audience, Nahome Zacharias, who asks, it's quite related to the implementation, and he or she is taking the point of view from the travel agents side, and they ask, what advantages will travel agents have by using NDC? What can make them choose it instead of the existing distribution systems that they are using? You want to take that, Hassan?
Yeah. So I was mentioning increase in profit per passenger. Well, that is the same for travel agents that sell those things, right? Because you will have a piece of it, a service fee, or a piece of that pie, right? So your profit increases. That means everybody benefits in that sales chain. Yeah. If it's a direct sale through an internet booking engine, yeah, you might not get that. But if your customers come to you, well, you will sell them more profitable things. You will make more money. That's for sure, than what you're doing today.
So there's a trickle-down effect, because we still have someone else who was asking the same thing for the Nigerian market. I think they're from Nigeria, Chinelo Obogo. How can Nigerian airlines benefit from this suggestion by you, Hassan? And what happens to the travel agents? So that's what he was trying to understand. And you've mentioned is that trickle-down effect that the $6 net profit per passenger is not only benefiting the airline, is also benefiting the travel agents.
Yeah, well, yes, because it benefits all the sales channels, let's put it this way, right? So obviously, as a travel agent, you are part of the sales channel, you will sell more profitable things. You can charge more service fees. You can, have whatever agreement you might have with the airline when you are selling these packages. That's up to you and the airline. But you increase profitability, obviously you will get more money, right? The rest is just agreements and between you and the airlines and things like that. Yeah.
Well said.
Am I answering the question? Did I answer the question, Maureen?
Yeah, it is. I hope that for Chinelo and for Nahome, that is addressing their question. And now that we have all these benefits from NDC, both for the airline, both also for the travel agents, and why not, if there's a overall benefit, that should also trickle down to the passenger. So how can we, as the industry at large, support airlines to promote NDC, to adopt NDC? Are there any strategies that you have in mind that we can put in place? Because there's a high cost, as you have mentioned, Mikhail, also the knowledge transfer, also the issue of capacity building. So how can we sort of meet that need and support our airlines? Mikhail.
Yeah, it's not an easy answer. So my feeling is that there are some I would say legacy players that turn NDC and that are proposing some of their offers. And to be honest, it's very expensive, and I guess too much expensive for, I would say, the average size of airlines in Africa. Not for all, not for the big one, but for many of them. And I guess one of the straightforward solution would be to switch to, I would say, maybe a lower size IT provider that can provide, I would say, a similar functional scope at lower cost. You know, there are lots of them, and I guess this is one of the solutions. The other solution would be again to increase economy of scale and be bigger and be able to, I would say, to push on with a bigger demand on the pricing.
Anything else you want to add to that, Hassan? Any other strategy we can put in place apart from the consolidation and on the switching costs?
Yes. So I think before looking at technology and anything, I think what we can do as an industry is maybe by things like your webinar today, yes, provide more training sessions or case studies, things like that, yes, where we show people how to build strategies. Because before you go into any, we have solutions at Hitit. I'm sure Michael has solutions. I'm sure a lot of providers have solutions, but don't go there first. Go first at defining your strategy. What can you do in your market? What you want to do, and then put a timeline, like 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. Then start looking at what you have, because it's only when you have a strategy, a destination, that you can say, okay, I'm here, I have these systems in place or these processes in place. What is the cost to get there? And then you make your decision, right? I think there's a lot of people talking about solutions, not a lot of people saying, let's sit down with airlines, let's show airlines from other case studies what other airlines have done. Like, for example, Kenya Airways, what have they done? You know, Egypt Air, Royal Maroc, just in our region. Maybe Eswatini, yeah, Air Eswatini, for example. What are they doing today to move into NDC, right? And I know they are doing some work. So I think if you bring those and they showcase through case studies what they have done, then they can help the other airlines embark on the definition of the strategy. Then we can discuss solutions and all that other stuff, and costs and all these things.
Yeah, that's indeed a good proposal, whereby we have partners who are working closely with AFRAA. We can put in place those webinars. We did one last year with one of our partners, APG, and we certainly will be looking forward to do more of those. And that was also why we had that survey that we did with TP Connect to help us understand the distribution landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll request my colleagues to paste the link for those of you who may not have had a chance to read the white paper that was developed from the survey outcomes. It's a good opportunity for you to see and understand the landscape, and also on the aspects of doing more knowledge share and capacity building. We take that positively as AFRAA on board and include it on our focus areas for our forthcoming webinars. And we have looked at the distribution landscape, the challenges, the opportunities. We want to come to a very important project that is at the point of the launch phase. We've been working on this very closely with DataWings for the last couple of years to ensure that we develop something that is really meeting an Africa-specific need. So we want to unpack that with you, Michael. The AFRAA Xchange project, what it is that this project is addressing as the gaps in the industry. Where are we at in terms of the development phase, and what are the next steps? Michael?
Yes, so the Xchange project has been started a bit more than 2 years ago. It's a very ambitious project, and what we can say is that it's a platform with a lot of integration. So you will find booking engines that will be connected indirect to African carriers, but not only indirect, that will be also connected to GDS, because of course we know that most of the airlines today are not NDC, and we need also to help them. Okay, so this solution will be integrated with different modules. So one, I would say, administration modules that will provide reporting functionalities, that will provide settlement functionalities, and that will provide a lot of automation in terms of invoicing and accounting. So the idea with that is to ease, I would say, the airlines and travel agents to work better together. A bit like, you know, what we can find with BSP Link, or, you know, it's a very nice exchange platform, and with a distribution between all actors. What I would like to mention is that it's a very open platform. So that means we are technologically agnostic, so we can connect with companies like Hitit, like TP Connect. So we don't care. What really matters is that we can be at the end in direct connection with the airlines to, I would say, kind of like skip intermediations and provide a cost-effective solution for everyone. So right now, where we are on the last stage of the, I would say, first version of the solution. We are still working on the connection, you know, with the GDS. This will be done end of this month. And in parallel to that, we are working on different integration, NDC integration with some African carriers. From next month, we will start to integrate payment gateways aggregators. Okay, so we are still in the process of selection, but I guess this month everything will be clarified, and the idea would be to provide as much as we can local providers to cover the different African markets and requirements. And the expectation is to be able to launch the project in September. So market has to be defined in cooperation with AFRAA. Just to summarize, the platform aims to address different points. First, the distribution cost, and second is the settlement with real-time payments and more cost-effective payments, and with a lot of integrated processes in order to cover, I would say, all time-consuming tasks to the airlines and of the travel agent.
Well said. That in a nutshell, there are some gaps that this project will be definitely filling, and it's an African-centric solution. And to make it really ideal and a fit for the market, we are planning to do some workshops in the month of August, where we will sit with airlines, we'll sit with travel agents, we'll also sit down with the payment partners, and to really work on how this will be usable and will address the specific needs of each and every stakeholder. Now, to look at the questions, we have quite a number of them addressed to you, Hassan, and Mikael. There's an anonymous attendee who asks, are there success stories of NDC driving better customer experience or operational efficiency for the airline? You can give some specifics, Hassan.
Yes, actually, there was a presentation by, I hope I'm not saying the wrong thing, by a gentleman, I believe he was the CCO of Kenya Airways, and he explicitly explained how it not only provided for obviously more money, but better customer experience. Because once it's not NDC itself, by the way, it's part of NDC. Part of NDC is that if you want to build that, you have to start building proper customer profiles. Yes. Mm-hmm. So part of the NDC solution is something called the customer database, which lets you, through AI as well, unify your customer profiles and have unique profiles for each of your customers. Now, when I talk profiles, I'm talking detailed profile, like value of that customer. They might not be your loyalty program, by the way, member, but just a regular customer. You will know about them. And because you're building all this for NDC to be able to offer them proper solutions and proper services. For example, With a good profile, you might discover that when I'm traveling for business, I don't care about luggage, extra luggage. So please stop offering me an extra bag. Rather, offer me a lounge or something, right? This is by understanding the customer. So yes, once you implement the full NDC requirements, because it's not just the technology itself to be able to sell NDC, it's everything behind it, like understanding customer, then yes, you're offering better customer experience. Again, you offer at the right time what your customer needs, not just dump on him. Do you want a meal? Do you want an extra luggage? Do you want an aisle seat? No, I don't want any of these because I don't know. I am that type of traveler. Or on the other hand, no, I absolutely do want an extra seat every time I travel for whatever reason, right? Because you discover that. So these are actual specific examples. I suggest for anyone interested, they are on the internet, anywhere on Google, all the AFRAA events actually, and IATA events in Africa, as well as others like IATA, the major ones. There has been a lot of presentations by a lot of really smart people about NDC experience. Most recently, Kenya Airways. And I'm sure if you go on Kenya Airways website or something, you will see those presentations speaking specifically about the advantages.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we also have on AFRAA YouTube channel the specific webinar we did on NDC last year with there was a case study, and we had this case study by Kenya Airways, head of the NDC program, and she took the participants step by step, even through their teething problems and where they stood on the process, and she took questions and answers from the floor. We also had Ethiopian Airlines who did their case study on NDC, and we plan to do more of this with our partners and our members so that we can do that peer-to-peer sharing of information, and also bringing together experts to debunk and also address and answer your questions we have. So we encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, to tune in and participate in this very informative and engaging webinars that we stage from time to time. We shall be giving on the program of events our next NDC related webinar. And back to NDC questions from the floor. We have Eman Mohammed who asks, under NDC, there will be no more trust framework as existing under GDS. How can airlines build this trust framework on a peer-to-peer basis with travel agents? Who you want to take that? Maybe Mikhail?
Depends on what you call trust framework. What would be the point, actually? I'm not sure to understand the question.
Eman, maybe you can elaborate on that. You can type on the question, then Mikhail can address that. And as Eman adds to their question, we have Wasihun Asres who asks, according to your experience, what will be the recommended right mix to have between the direct and indirect distribution channels for a profitable international airline? I want to bring that to you, Hassan.
I don't think there's a magic number, right? It's the market that decides that. What I think is that all channels should have access to rich content from airlines, right? The travel agents should have access to the same things that are on the website, that are on OTAs, that are on whatever system. So, and this is one of the things NDC does, is allows airlines to push the same rich content to all the channels. That is the recommendation, actually, that is a must. But as for percentage, I don't think you can really say that, because that's really market dependent, right? Like some places people will want to go way more to the travel agents. Others will just want to use the website. So yeah, I can't answer that question precisely. I'm sorry.
No worries. We are short of time, and we still have a few questions pending. So what I would request, ladies and gentlemen, is we will take those final questions and address them post-webinar. We see a question from Semur Chinelo Eman, you asked again if we have these case studies available online. I request my colleagues to send the link on the chat box of the NDC webinar we did last year with APG. It will really be useful for those of us who may have missed it. And then there's a question also on payments. I'm seeing that on the chat box regarding how do we address the payment fraud systems from Abdul Mohsen Junaid. What we want to mention to you, Abdul Mohsen, is that we also had another survey on the airline payment landscape in Africa with Visa. And what we are planning to do in the next 2 months is a webinar which will be open to all to really unpack and unbox all that. And we encourage you to participate in that webinar. The link is also available for registration. That will be posted on the chat box as well. Then we can really address the issue of fraud. Actually, that survey went and did a deep dive on how payments are being done in Africa and some of the findings to do with the percentages of fraud, what airlines are doing, and the key emerging issues. So it's a very interesting white paper there. And we'll be doing a workshop with Visa, who can now directly answer those specific questions. Hassan and Mikhail, I will not want to let you go without giving us your final message on the airline distribution landscape before we close the show. So I'll start with you, Mikhail. What's your final message to our audience on airline distribution in Africa?
My final message is very simple. So what I can see is that companies like Hitit or DataWings, we have a lot of ideas. We can do a lot of things, and it's true that we can enhance your ability to sell on different markets in a significant way. From now, what I would like to advocate is like, please, airlines, make the efforts, make your plans, and switch to the NDC, because without this open door, this will limit our ability to help you in your distribution and in your cost savings. NDC is really one of the, I would say, critical key for companies like us to plug our technology to you and to be able to help you deliver customized offer at cost-effective pricing.
Thank you, Mikhail. So switch to NDC and modern retailing. What about you, Hassan?
I'll have to echo what you said and what Mikhail said with one thing. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but start today embarking on the airline retailing route. It is the only future out there. Trust me on this, because everybody else will do it. And you cannot be left alone not doing it. But you have to start now. Like when I say now, over the next few months, whatever, you have to start. Yeah, you have to remember it's going to take time. So start. I see your team, Maureen, has shared all the webinars, links, and etc. So please consult those. Please participate in such events as this. Don't hesitate to reach out to us directly if you have questions. But please embark on it now. Otherwise, you will be left behind.
The best time to start is today. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, and that one step should be with immediate effect. Yeah. Thank you very much, Hassan. Thank you very much, Mikhail, for sharing your insights and your inputs on airline distribution in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your participation, for your attention, and for those of the audience that asked questions. We hope that we were able to address them fully. And for the open questions, our team will be coming back to you and will be responding to those off webinar. Thank you very much. And we do look forward to your participation in our future sessions. And from AFRAA Secretariat, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.